Tractate Avodah Zarah. Today we're going to study together this beautiful page 36. Some word of introduction. First and foremost, I want to thank all the people that sent us email and communicate with us over the phone and more. Several answers that I gave those individuals I'd like to share with you since it reoccurred those questions. One question was about the concept of hashgacha. We discussed yesterday and day before yesterday that we need to have a fellow trustworthy person to go out and watch over. In our sugya it was a non-Jew, but it can be other situation that you need a mashgiach. So the answer is, in modern days, we are now at 2018, if we have surveillance system, if we have the camera and the new system which David is so familiar and many others, the moment we have this type of system, you do not need to have physical mashgiach as requested in those days. The system today is so sophisticated and advanced that it is trustworthy, the surveillance system. The idea of noten tam lipgam, another recurring question that people ask. The question, for example, was asked about using knife that previously used by, in our sugyot is idolater, but can be just a non-Jew, that used, for example, to cut a watermelon. So you're cutting watermelon with a knife. And the problem is that that knife can use for non-kosher item. The problem with the knives is it's observed. It's observed, meaning that it can be used, for example, for carcass hot dog, naknik nevela, that was, God forbid, used earlier. So the knife is basically treif, even betzonen, even if it's a cold temperature. It's observed the harifut, it's observed there. So the idea is, knife in general needs to go to a process of kashrut, and there's a few different ways, but cannot be assumed that just because it's knife is different. No, knife is actually the other way around. It's much stricter because it can observe and it takes time. Now, when it's come to noten tam lipgam, meaning the moment it observes, as we explained, earthware, get close to Pesach, we need to break it. We cannot use it because it's only bol'o, but not polto. It's only observed, but it's not deserved. So all these solutions we talked in the past, when it's come to kashrut, by using a kebolo kach polto, that you use a certain temperature, and by using that it will dissolve, that's not applied to earthware because it's only one way. So anyway, now we are dealing with the third type of food that's used by Akum. So they said here, V'hashemen shelahem, we are at the very bottom of 35b. V'hashemen shelahem, which is the oil that came from the idol worshipper. So they said, Hashemen shelahem, shemen Rab Amar Daniel gazar alav. So here we have the oil originally prohibited, but later permitted by Rabbi Yehuda and his Bezdin. So the Gemara cited dispute. They said that Daniel decree, the famous Daniel in the Tanakh, that they decree. So why? The Ravid explained that was harchaka, which will be a distance from idol worshippers. Rashi said in the Mishnah here, דיבור המתחיל בהשלכות, he says, כל דבר שבישלו עבדי כוכבים, anything that the idol worshipper cooked, ואפילו בכלי טהור, even it was cooked in the pure vessels, he says no, וכולו משום חתנות, the whole idea of intermarriage, as we explained before yesterday. So basically Daniel, the biblical Daniel, instituted, and that's the view of Rav. That's the reason why we hold that oil from idol worshipper is prohibited. Shmuel said that the gzeira, that the enactment is totally different, and it's because, page 36, zlifatan shel kelim tmein o sartan. So he said that it's a total different. Shmuel hold that the idol worshippers take the oil put it inside the impure vessels, and that's basically collected, as we explained earlier. Remember when we talk about the knife, it's basically collected the taste, and it's combined with that oil. That's the way Tosfot also, Dibur Matchil Zlifatan said. Rashi tells us, Lamed Amud Bet, the last word, he said, Zlifatan pelitatan shepoltin umaziin shamnunit isur sheblao. So he said at the moment that they have this secretion of these ritually impure vessels, that prohibits the oil that the idol worshipper pour into them. That's the idea of the purity. The Stipler, the Kilot Yaakov, elaborates in Tedvav, and he tells us that it's only he explained what he said, that it's only if you have chashash noten tam libgam, if you have a concern that it's basically distributed and get this taste from one location to another. So the big question is, why are you dealing with secretion? Tosfot Chance and others said that the act of pouring there, that's basically make it asur. But the Gemara challenged and said, Atu kule alma ochlei ta'arot ninu. Give me a break. You mean to say that all people are consumers of only ritually pure substance? Chulin is unfortunately it's common, but it's common practice to eat ritually impure food. Why should the secretion of impure vessels render the oil prohibited? So even that midat chesidut, most of the people do not do that. So they have to say, Ela zlifatan shel kelim osartam. The secretion of prohibited vessel prohibits the oil. It's absorbed the prohibition substance. That's what we said earlier. Meaning the whole subject is not ritually impurity, but isur, by the prohibition, because we concern that the vessel of the idol worshipper swallow it, and therefore they have tam livgam, they have tam machalot asura, they have taste of prohibited food that stay there, and that already combined there, and that's the problem. So it means, according to Shmuel, the whole decree, the whole enactment of the Rabbanan, it's not because of intermarriages, but because the balua isur blia. Anyway, there is a Tosfot and the Ravid here on this. Just let's continue. Amar le Shmuel Rav Bishlama le Didi. If you go by my view, da amina, that I hold that the prohibition of oil that come from idol worshippers, zlifatan shel kelim asartan, the secretion that come of those vessels prohibited them. Hainu dechiyata, that's what I understand when Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta, he came from Eretz Yisrael, and he said to us, Darish Rabbi Simlai bin Tzivin shemen, if you have oil that come from idol worshippers, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and this is not Rabbi Yehuda Nasi that we know, it's a different one. It's, according to Mefarshim, is the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Tosfot and others. Ubed dinon imnu alav v'itiru. He and his best din came together and permitted it. They basically vote in that way. So the Gemara next page 37 said that the Rabbi Yehuda Nasi went to Rabbi Simlai and his disciples, and he said that the Beit Din allowed this oil from idol worshippers. So he most probably ruled to Rabbi Simlai to promulgate it. So that's the time that he said in the Tzivin that was the great yeshiva. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Beit Din nimlo alav v'itiru kasavar noten tam livgam mutar. So he said that if you have a prohibited substance that impart flavor to the detriment of mixture is permitted. So the way that the Shmuel explanation is the prohibition was revoked because the taste absorbed by the oil will have impair its flavor rather than enhance it. So they said, "Elidach, Damar Daniel Gazar Alav." You say that the whole Isur Archaka is because Isur Chatnu, the concern of intermarriage, which made by the biblical Daniel, and that's the reason you are prohibited. So they said, "Is that possible?" Daniel Gazar v'atar Rabbi Yehuda Nasi mevatalei. You're going to tell me that Daniel put a decree and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi came and voided and abrogated and you know, the rule of Daniel? How that can be? Vatnan, this is a famous Mishnah in Tractate Avodah chapter 1, Mishnah 5. אין בדין יכול לבטל את בין חברו אלא גדול ממנו בחוכמה ובמניין. We mentioned that many times, that rabbinic court cannot come in and void the statement of another court unless it greater him in the wisdom and its number. And the Mefarshim explained that bechokma, the Radvaz explained, that means that the head of the Beit Din, the last one, was greater than the chokma than the head of the Beit Din, the previous one. You see the Rambam. Or Klalut Beit Din greater, or the Minyan, meaning that the head of the last Beit Din is greater in the years of the first one, or the students greater in the numbers. The Ritva explained that Gadol B'Minyan, which is the years that they served the Midei Chachamim, is more years. So it means the Beit Din Rabbi Nesia were not greater from the Daniel. Why? Because Daniel was Misharei Knesset Agdolah, the remnant from the Great Assembly. So the big question is, you have to differentiate between enactment, decree, or ruling. Anyway, so Rav rejected that notion, and he said, "Amar le simlai luda ka'amart, shanu lidai de mezalzelu." He said here, painful statement, but he meant, he said, you are from Lud. Lud are different because they are dispersed the sage's decree. They like belittle them. They don't take them seriously, so we are concerned about them. Amar le shlach le. So do you agree that I sent to Rav Simlai what you said about him? And as a result, Ichsif, Rav became very kind of embarrassed. Meaning, Tosfot Chachmei Anglia said that you basically challenge the trust of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Bedino because you denigrate the Ludiim, because you said that they are basically mezalzalim bedinei de Rabbanan, because they disparage the word of the sage's decree. So he was hurt and he was embarrassed because eventually the Simlai, Yavet said, is a trustworthy source. The Ramban and others said that it's better to say that it's a mistake by misquoting rather than to say that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi rule incorrectly. אמר רב, אם הם לא דרשו, ענן לא דרשינן. So in a way, Rav accepted the view of Shmuel from Rav Simlai that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi really allowed this oil made out of idol worshipper, but he remained adamant or even obstinate about the source. He said that Hem lo darshu, the Rabbi Yehuda Nasi and his rabbinic court did not expound the pasuk from Daniel, Anan lo darshina. So we should derive it by ourselves, which means we believe that that's the source, that the original source has come from Daniel, that he put a prohibition for that oil that came from idol worshipper. So therefore, Rashi explained, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi has no koach heter, he cannot go and abrogate the early court of Daniel. Ve'aktiv. It's a pasuk said in the book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 8, וישם דניאל על ליבו אשר לא יתגאל בפת בג המלך וביין משתב. So here the pasuk said, but Daniel proposed in his heart that he will not defile himself with the king's food, nor with the wine which he drank. So because they use the word mishtav, mishtav meaning it's a plural, you have here a clear indication that it was בשתי משתאות הכתוב מדבר. משתה, משתב, two. אחד משתה יין, soon we're going to Purim, right? One, it's the drinking of wine, and the other one, ואחד משתה שמן. So it means that Daniel put a prohibition against the olive that come from idol worshippers. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah and his rabbinic court has no right to abrogate the early ruling of Daniel and his court. Now the Gemara expand on the notion that Shmuel see in that pasuk, in that verse, also implication to the prohibition of the oil, but explain why anyway he disputed Rav. Rav Savar, Rav maintain, al libo sam ulechol Israel hora. Meaning, Daniel decree that oil prohibited, but in a way, he made al libo on his heart that he should not do it for himself, but all the others, it's a different story. Now, many Mefarshim said that it started with his heart and he continued to instruct people to do it, to adhere to that. ושמואל סבר על ליבו שמו לכל ישראל לא הורה. As we said, the other way around. Shmuel said that he put it on his heart, but he's not asked all the Jewish people to adhere to that. It's just accept this harchaka upon himself. Remind me a story of the late Rabbi Moshe Weisblum, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. Once I learned with Rav Kitzis, Gershon Kitzis was my study mentor for many years. I'm going back 30 years ago. So once he told me that the family member posted a question to Rabbi Moshe Weisblum, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, in regards to using what it was. It was a soap, a liquid soap that carries a color on Shabbat, which means you have a soap that's used to, for cleaning hands, cleaning body, and some of them maintain with coloring, for example, blue, etc. So it can change the color while you're using it, right? So Rabbi Moshe finds in rules to people they can use it. But for his Bnei Beito, for himself, for his household, he said no. Anyway, Veshemen, Daniel Gazar, Daniel decreed that oil is prohibited. Ve'amar Bali, some said, not everyone said, Ha'amar Avimi, not everyone hold that way. Nuta'a mishmei derav, pitan, bread for idol worshipping, veshamnan, and the oil, yeinam, the wine, uvnoteihen. So later the Gemara explained that that's rabbinic decree, the daughter. Kulam mishmonas advar, they are all from the 18 matters decree in a single day, or the day that the student of Shammai and Hillel. So it means Rav himself maintains that the prohibition was not instituted by Daniel, but post-Daniel. If you remember, we studied in Tractate Shabbat, page 13b. It was 18 matters that the student of Hillel and Shammai get together to visit Hananiah ben Chizkiah ben Garon. And because the student of Beit Shammai are many more, so they accept upon themselves 18. Even the study of Hillel, student of Hillel opposed it. So this is one of the 18. Rashi in Tractate Shabbat, page 17b, Dibur HaMatchil Kulan, expand on that. But anyway, V'chi teima ata Daniel gazar velo kibel, ve'atu talmidei de Hillel veShammai vegazu ve'kibel. So it means that here is the scenario, what happened. Originally Daniel come and put a decree on the oil, but unfortunately people did not accepted that ruling. Which means the prohibition was instituted due to the concern of intermarriage, which was why it was applied, Rashi said, in the city. where the idol worshipper and Jews are likely to mingle. ועדו תלמידי הלל ושמאי וגזור וקיבל. The disciples of הלל and Shammai come and put a decree and it was accepted. אם כן, mais asahadutei derav. So what exactly the testimony of Rav that this decree made by Daniel? If the people did not accept that, so it's meaningless. So Rashi expanded on that and he said, how Rav put this decree of Daniel as a source for the prohibition of oil in our Mishnah. If the generation of Daniel did not accept that, so it has no right, and therefore it cannot be the source of that prohibition. What is Hedid? According to Rashi, is more piresh. But anyway, אלא דניאל גזר עליו בעיר, ועטוינו וגזלו עברו בשדה. So Rashi explained that yes, Daniel, in order to put a harchaka michatnut, to put a distance from intermarriages, Rashi explains, he put the prohibition against their oil in the city, because there's a chance that they intermingle. But then the students of Hillel and Shammai come and expanded even in the field. So the concept is basically, as we see, that is intermarriages. So how Rabbi Nasi come and make abrogated or annul a rule, a decree, enactment of students of Hillel and Shammai. ואתנן, אין בדין יכול לבטל דברי בדין חברו, אלא כן גדול ממנו בחוכמה ועניין. What we just learned? We just learned, Tosfot explained to us that the bedin of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah wasn't greater than Hillel v'Shammai. Ve'od, and furthermore, meaning even Tosfot said that the bet din of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, was greater than the best din of Hillel and Shammai. Ha'amar Rabba bar Chana amar Rabbi Yochanan bakol yachol levadet bedin bedin chavero. In any matter, Rashi explained, even the bet din put a prohibition against something that allowed to do by the Torah law. The following bet din can abrogate the previous decree. Chutz, but there is exclusion. מ-18 דבר שאפילו יבוא אליהו בדינו אין שומעים לו. Except from the 18 matters decreed by the student of Shammai, as even, hypothetically speaking, right, Eliyahu HaNavi, זכו לטוב, and his rabbinic court were to come and rescind them, one will not listen to them. So Tosfot bring the Yerushalmi, that they are all can do it excluding the 18, so now you wonder why. So let's see the fascinating point in the Tosfot. He bring the Yerushalmi. דיבור המתחיל והתנן, middle of the Tosfot. He said, כמו שמירושת בירושלמי, מפני שעמדה להם בנפשותיהם. And we see at the end, he says, אפילו גדול, אומר, ותן מפני שעמדה להם בנפשותיהם, פירוש מה שנעצו חרב בית המדרש. Fascinating, more dick. What Tosfot said to us here, because they have the mesirut nefesh. The moment they have the mesirut nefesh, then you cannot change it. That's it. It's the end. And it's fascinating Tosfot. I wish to have more time. We can expand on this beautiful Tosfot in Yerushalmi. אמר המשרשיה, מה טעם? הואילו פשט איסורן ברוב ישראל. So Tosfot explained that Rav Misharshia comments address the question of Rabbi Yehuda's court could repeal one of the 18 ordinances decreed by Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai as their decree as a special halachic status. But according to this interpretation, it is only with regard to these 18 matters that lesser court cannot void the greatest court decree. Other decrees may be voided, even if they are being broadly adopted by the Jewish people. Rav Misharshia is saying that although the decree against the consuming a idol worshipper's oil was one of the 18 matters. It does not possess a unique status because it was not universally practiced. Now, the Rambam and Ilchot Mamrim, chapter 2, said that all the rabbinic decrees that were instituted by establish a safeguard for the Torah and which has been universally adopted cannot be voided. So accordingly, Rav Mesharshiya is merely explaining that the decree with regard to idol worshippers' oil could be voided because it was universally accepted, regardless of the fact that it was of the 18 matters. הואיל ופשט איסורן ברוב ישראל, שמן לא פשט איסורו ברוב ישראל. אמר רב שמואל בר אבא, אמר רבי יוחנן, ישבו רבותינו בדקו על שמן. So the sages come and inspected the matter of idol worshipper oil and determined שלא פשט איסורו ברוב ישראל, that this prohibition did not spread among the majority of the Jewish people. Which is, Rashi explained, that most of the people did not follow that. וסמכו רבותינו על דברי רבן שמעון בן גמליאל ודברי רבי אלעזר בן צדוק שאומרים אין גוזרים גזירה על הציבור אלא אם כן רוב הציבור יכולים לעמוד בה. That's fascinating. They said that we don't put the decree upon the community only if most of the community is able to abide by it. So otherwise they don't put it. דאמר רב עדה בר אהבה המיקרא, who is the source from the Mikra, from the Psukim, that this principle of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel and Rabbi Elazar bar Tzadok. Page 36b, the Pasuk said in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 9, במארה אתם נערים, ואותי אתם קובעים הגוי כולו, which is, you are cursed with the curse, yet you rob me, even this whole nation. So, if you accept upon himself as a decree that use the serious term of curses in the Torah, and then you violated, Rashi explained, what you already commit yourself, so the Pasuk conveys that God dissatisfaction with the behavior of the Jewish people. You accept upon yourself decree, whose violation is a result in the curse, and then transgress those very decree. So in this manner you effectively rob me. Obviously that's anthropomorphic language, right? That's goy kulo in, ila lo. So if the entire nation accepted, that's different. So the ordinances may be instituted, otherwise not. Why? Because obviously you have to have, that's in the conclusion, two important points in order to have tokef, in order to have validity to those decree. One, shepashat isura berov Israel, that the entire nation heard and know and accepted. Two, that the majority of the people can stand and follow that. Otherwise, even Eliyahu Hanavi and no one accepted that. It's a big question if people want to do it anyway. There's a Rambam. Anyway. גופה, אמר בלי אמר רבי מנותם משמי דרב, פיתן ושמנם ינם ובנותיהם כולם 18 דבר. בנותיהן מאי, אמר רב נחמן בר יצחק, גלו על בנותיהם נידות מאריסותן. So it means from the day that they are young, those idol worshipper women are always considered to be like nidot. וגנבה משמי דרב אמר, כולם משום עבודה זרה גזור בהם. All those happen because of idol worshipper. With those idol worshipper, it result of intermingling with them. דחיית הרבח ברדה אמר רבי יצחק, גזרו על פיתם משום שמנן, מה יעול משמן מפרת? What's the big difference that you said that is stronger, oil stronger than the prohibition with the bread? אלא על פיתם ושמנן משום יינן, both of them because of wine, ועל יינן משום בנותיהן, because one lead to another. ועל בנותיהם משום דבר אחר. Something else. What is the something else? Idolatry. אבל דבר אחר משום דבר אחר. And the further decree is something due to something else, which is explained by the Gemara. בנותיהן דאורייתא דכתיב לא תתחתן בה. Torah said in Deuteronomy chapter 7, you should not marry them. And then דאורייתא שבעה גויים, אבל שאר אומות לא. So by דאורייתא you talk about 7 nations. שבעה אומות, that's the כנעניות. but others not. ועטוינו וגזרו, the student of שמיים הלל put the decree, אפילו נשארו עובדי כוכבים, even the other idol worshippers. ולרבי שמעון בן יוחאי, דאמר כי יסיר את בנך מאחורי לרבות כל המסירות. The pasuk in Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 4 said that he will be away, you son from follow me. So that's include to turn away what is your son from God, all those idol worshippers. לרבות כל המסירות מעיק עליהם. אמר, הדורייתא אישות דרך חתנות. The Torah law, only sexual relations by the way of marriage are prohibited. והטוענים גזרו אפילו דרך זנות. They come with even if licentiousness, which is the other way. זנות נע מבית עידו של שם גזרו, דכתיב ואומר יהודה הוציאו ותשרף. He said in Genesis 38 that when Yehuda thought about Tamar, so he said, bring her out and she should be burned. So it's proved that the prohibition against licentious intercourse with idol worshippers was forced long before the time of the student of שמאי and הלל. אלא דורייתא הבעל בת ישראל ומשכה בתרי, אבל ישראל הבעל עובדת כוכבים, לא. והטוענים גזרו אפילו בישראל הבעל עובדת כוכבים. So basically they add the idea, so the Gemara in Shabbat 33b and Kiddush in 80b said that it's נשים דתם קלה. That the idol worshipper influence her much more. Anyway, ישראל הבעל עובד כוכבים הלכה למשה מסיני. So that's הלכה transmitted from Moshe Weisblum and not the rabbinic ordinances. The מאמר רבי אלה רמית כאן פורגים בו, that's Gemara in Sanhedrin, we learn it, page 81. That one who engaged in intercourse with a mere woman, so the zealous may attack him. That Pinchas did to Zimri in the wilderness, book of Bamidbar, chapter 25. אמר לו דורייתא בפרס על כמעשה שהיה, והטוענים וגזרו אפילו בצנעה. So the כמעשה שהיה that Zimri ben Tzaluk. Thank you. He took a Cosby Batsur, and the student of the Shiloh of Tamar come even אפילו בצנעה, even it's in private. בצנעה נאמר בדינו של חשמונאי, that precede שמאי הלל, גזרו דחי, אתה רב דימי, אומר בדינו של חשמונאי, גזרו ישראל הבעל עובד כוכבים חייב משום נסגה. זה abbreviation, נידה שפחה גויה אשת איש. כי אתה רבין אמר משום נסגד, נידה שפחה גויה זונה. So what's the student of שמאי הלל added? כי גזרו בדינו של חשמונאי ביאה, אבל ייחוד לא. So the Hashmonis, they talk about sexual intercourse, but not seclusion with idol worshiper women, not. והטועינו and student of הלל שמאי גזרו אפילו ייחוד. They prohibited even seclusion. So they said, ייחוד נם בדינו של דוד גזרו. אמר עבודה באותה שעה, in a time of a horrible incident of אמנון and תמר, גזרו על ייחוד. אמריאתם ייחוד דבת ישראל, אבל ייחוד עובד כוכבים לא. That's applied to Jew, but not idol worshippers with a fellow Jew. והטועינו נסו הלל שמאי וגזרו אפילו ייחוד עובד כוכבים. ייחוד דבת ישראל דאורייתא, דאמר רבי יוחנן משום רבי שמעון בן יהודה צדק רמז לייחוד מן התורה מנין, שנאמר דברים י"ג כי שדך אחיך בן אמך וכי בן אם מסית, בן אב אינו מסית. So you mean to say that only son of the father, not half, not the son of the mother, but entice one to sin, and the son of the father not entice. אלא, they said, בן מתייחד את אמו ונכד מתייחד עם כל הראש שבתו. A son can seclude himself with his mother, and others seclude himself in any way of those whom relationship is prohibited, relations prohibited by the Torah. So the Gemara asks, ייחוד דאורייתא דאשת איש, ועד דוד וגזר אפילו על ייחוד דפנויה, ועד תלמידי בית שמאי בית הלל גזרו אפילו ייחוד דעובדת כוכבים. As we explained earlier. מה היה על דבר אחר משום דבר אחר? אומר רב נחמן בר יצחק גזרו על תינוק עובד כוכבים שיטמא בזיווה, שלא יהיה תינוק ישראל רגיל במשכב זכור. So the sages employ this euphemism was referring to this decree. דאמר רבי זרע צר גדול היה לו, צר גדול אצל רבי יאסי, רש"י עושה כלומר, we don't have time. But anyway, the Zera said it was a great trouble with Rabbi Asi. רבי יאסי אצל רבי יוחנן, ורבי יוחנן אצל רבי ינאי, ורבי ינאי אצל רבי נתן בן עמרם. They have a problem with this, great trouble with this question. ורבי נתן בן ארבם אצל רבי, תינוק עובד כוכבים ממתי מטמא בזיווה, אמר לי בן יומו. וכשבאתי לרבי חייא, אצל רבי חייא אמר לי בן 9 שנים ויום אחד, כשבאתי והרציתי דבריו לפני רבי, אמר לי הנח דבריי ואחוז דברי רבי חייא, דאמר תינוק עובד כוכבים ממתי מטמא בזיווה, בן 9 שנים ויום אחד. Then he is 9 years and 1 day old. Page 37, הואיל וראוי לביאה מטמא בזיווה, because he is it's caught already mature boy, which means he's fit to engage in intercourse. He's also in part ritual impurity is one experience זיווה. אמר רבי נאיל כך, התינוקת עובדת כוכבים בת 3 שנים ויום אחד הוליד וראה לביאה מטמא נמי בזיווה. אז הגמרא עושה פשיטא, מה עוד מה ידע להרגולי לא ידע להרגולי כמשמלן. So כמשמלן, the teachers that הלכה nevertheless apply to both male and female children, which means תינוקת עקום, we have טומאת זיווה from the time that she is ראויה לביאה. ראויה לביאה is 3 years and 1 day.